to amend Electoral Act bill. Ebonyi Governor Umahi appeals court order sacking him and deputy. Court overrules suspects over alleged charges in Hanifa's murder. And on the foreign scene, United Nations War Crimes Panel urges United States to probe deadly Syria air raids. Coronavirus is real and deadly. Do not be confused. Get vaccinated against the virus immediately at the nearest vaccination center. This message is brought to you by the United Nations Children Educational Fund, UNICEF. Good evening. You're listening to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. I am Zahra Zannah. Today is the 9th of March, 2022, and now the news in full. The Senate today rejected President Muhammadu Buhari's request to amend the Electoral Act 2022. The proposed law, a bill for an act to amend the Electoral Act 2022, was overwhelmingly rejected during its second reading. Before a voice note on the bill, which nays had it, several lawmakers spoke against going ahead to amend the act and urged that the Senate abide by a court ruling, which stopped the National Assembly from tampering with the electoral law. President Buhari had, in a letter to the National Assembly last week, asked the federal lawmakers to amend the act by deleting Section 84(12), which, according to him, constitutes a defect that is in conflict with extant constitutional provisions. The section required political appointees to resign their appointment before participating in primary elections. Meanwhile, Senate has confirmed the nominations of 5 commissioners in the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission. The confirmation of the nominees today followed the consideration of a report by the Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes Committee. Those confirmed include Senator Anthony Agbo, Anne Otelafuode, Alhaji Gonil Ali, Dr. Louis Solomon Mandama, and Olubenga Adeyanju. Chairman of the committee, Senator Suleiman Abdukwari, in his presentation, recalled that one of the nominees, Dr. Mojisola Yaya Kolade, was withdrawn by President Muhammadu Buhari and replaced with Olubenga Adeyanju, who was screened by the committee. He disclosed that the nominees gave in-depth responses to the questions posed by the committee on ways they would fulfill the commission's mandate. Kwari further disclosed that there was no adverse security reports or petitions against any of the nominees. The governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, and his deputy, Dr. Eric Kelechi Igwe, today appealed the Federal High Court judgment that sacked them from office. Umahi and his deputy were on Tuesday sacked on the grounds of their defection from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress. Appealing the decision before the Court of Appeal in Abuja, Umahi and his deputy stated that the Federal High Court erred when it said that it had not seen any authority which propounds that where governor or deputy governor defect his political party on which platform he was elected into office, he cannot be sued by that political party to reclaim its mandate. The appellants also said the trial court erred in law and misdirected itself when it relied on Section 68 and 109 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, in holding that the appellants, having defected from the PDP to the APC, offended the provisions of the Constitution and must vacate their offices as governor and deputy governor, respectively. The appellants in their suit stated that there is no specific mention of governor and deputy governor in the provisions of Section 82 and 109, respectively, of the 1999 Constitution. Umahi and Igwe also argued that the judgment erred in grounds 5, 6, 7, and 8. This is as they asked the Court of Appeal to set aside the judgment of the Federal High Court. The Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the All Progressive Congress, APC, has released the zoning arrangement for the March 26 National Convention. APC, in a statement issued today by its Director of Publicity, Salisu Dambata, zoned the national chairman to the North Central, while the Southwest will produce the national secretary. According to the statement, the position of the Deputy National Chairman has been allocated to the Southeast Zone. The ruling party said the zoning arrangement was adopted at the March 8, 2022 regular meeting of the CECPC. Also, the acting chairman of the Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the ruling All Progressive Congress and State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello has inaugurated chairman and secretaries of subcommittees for the March 26 National Convention. Sani Bello, who said the convention date is sacrosanct, explained the new panels are being reduced to a manageable size for effective delivery. The Central Planning Committee has also increased the number of subcommittees to accommodate some critical activities for a rancor-free convention. World Football governing body FIFA has kicked Russia out of the 2022 World Cup qualifying playoffs due to the country's war in Ukraine. Correspondent Hawa Adomikiawa has details of this and other sports updates.
FIFA officially announced Russia's exclusion following key decisions by its Bureau of Organizing Committee. Russia's opponents, Poland, have been given a bye into the Path B playoff final on March 29th. Poland had been due to face Russia in the semi-final of the playoff process days earlier, but the Polish FA and players insisted they did not want to play against Russia. Another update, Premier League club side Watford have cleared Super Eagles defender William Troost Ekong fit for Nigeria's doubleheader against West African arch-rivals Ghana in the West Cup playoff later this month. In a short message, the Nigeria Football Federation NFF said Super Eagles defender William Troost Ekong now fit and cleared for Watford medical team after a mild injury. Meanwhile, a former Super Eagles player, Justice Christopher, is dead. The former midfielder reportedly slumped in his hotel in Gwalshire in Jos, Plateau State today. The deceased had reportedly been battling high blood pressure. He was, however, full of life and showed no sign of health challenge when he was seen in the company of his friends yesterday. In another development, Super Falcons star Nicole Payne has revealed her admiration for Liverpool star Trent Alexander-Arnold, and she believes that if she could play like him, she would be one of the best in the world. The 21-year-old, who has 2 caps for the 11-time African champions, made her international debut in a friendly game against Jamaica last year. Coincidentally, in that same game, she, alongside her sister Toni Payne, became the first sisters to feature in the same game for the Super Falcons. On tennis, Heather Watson, Harriet Dart and Katie Bolter all came through qualifying to join fellow Briton Emma Raducanu in the main draw at Indian Wells. Dart overcame Russia's Anastasia Gasanova 6-2, 3-6 and 6-3 in a seesawing match that featured a 12 break of serve. Bolter made more straightforward progress with a 6-3, 6-3 victory over Italian veteran Sara Errani. Earlier, Watson came from behind to defeat Japan's Mei Hontama 4-6, 6-2 and 6-1 and secure her place in the main draw. United States Open champion and 11th seed Raducanu has a first-round bye at the event and will face last week's Leon finalist Diana Yastremska or Francis Caroline Garcia in the second round. Hawa Adamikiawa, Freedom Radio.
The Global News is coming to you from Freedom Radio 99.5 FM. You can send your comments, opinions, and watch us live on Freedom Radio Nigeria on Facebook.com. You can get the link to the page on our website, freedomradionig.com. Welcome back. You're still listening to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. Justice Usman Naabba has overruled allegations of threat to life, confession under duress, and torture raised by Abdul Malik Tanko, the prime suspect in the murder case of Hanifa Abu Bakr, a 5-year-old pupil of Noble Kiddies Academy. At the resumption of the criminal trial today, Justice Naabba declared that there was no substantive evidence brought before the court to prove the suspects were not responsible for their earlier statements. In his ruling on trial within a trial, Justice Naba declared that Abdul Malik could not clearly prove the identity of the device, which he claimed was used to penetrate his body parts, thereby dismissing the suspect's argument. Abdul Malik and Fatima Musa at the last sitting denied signing the confessional statement brought against them by the police. The revelation ensued when the defense counsel, Barrister Usman, objected the submission of the first security witness, Surgeon Rilwan Ibrahim, for what he described as inconsistency in the evidence of the first and third suspect statements. Usman later sought the court's permission to order for a trial within a trial to clear the claim and counterclaim where the first Tanko and third Fatima suspects made contrary claims. The Emir of Kano, Al-Haji Aminu Ado Bayero, has called on manufacturers and businessmen to comply with the Standard Organization of Nigeria's SUN requirement as well as importation of standard products. Al-Haji Aminu Ado Bayero made this known today while receiving the newly appointed Kano Regional Office Director, Mr. Albert Wilberforce, who paid him a visit at his palace. The Emir also charged traders on providing quality goods so as to reduce the spread the substandard products in markets.
Muna cike da rashin jin daɗi idan ana da samun irin waɗannan abubuwa musamman da 'yan kasuwar mu na kira ga al'umma kiyaye ba don komai ba domin ranar da za su haɗu da ubangijinsu.
In a speech, Mr. Albert Wilberforce said the rationale behind the visit is to inform the Emir about the launch of a new SUN regional office and seek the guidance of the Emirate.
The size of Kano, the population, the number of local governments, the commercial activities, industrial and manufacturing. And so the DG, Malam Farouk Salim, decided that Kano should be pulled out of the Northwest Zone and let it be a standalone directorate. So Kano has been created and it's now a directorate, and the DG decided that I should be the pioneer director in charge of the Kano Regional Office. It's most appropriate for me to come and inform the Emir of Kano about the creation of Kano Directorate of Standards Organization of Nigeria.
Correspondent Awal Hassan Fagir reports that the organization has also reiterated its commitment to improving the quality of products imported and distributed within the state. And on business, Muhammad Abba Abdullahi has updates.
The currency in circulation rose by 418 billion naira from 2.91 trillion naira in December 2020 to 3.33 trillion naira in December 2021. According to figures obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria, the currency in circulation had increased by 19.06% from 2.44 trillion naira recorded as of December 2019. The CBN report on currency operation shows that the growth in CIC reflected the continuing dominance of cash in the economy. According to the CBN, electronic payment options were introduced with a major aim of reducing the amount of naira notes used for transactions, but not to eliminate cash usage. Meanwhile, the Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Olamilekan Adegbiti, says the federal government is losing money and jobs by exporting raw ori instead of refining it in the country. Adegbiti stated this when he visited the office of the Bauchi State Governor, Bala Muhammad, after inspecting the kaolin processing plant in the state. He added that the establishment of a kaolin processing plant in Bauchi will prevent the exportation of raw kaolin and the importation of industrial grade kaolin for pharmaceutical companies in the country. He encouraged investors to invest in the mining and processing, stressing that whatever is mined in Nigeria must be processed in the country. Muhammad Abba Abdullahi, Freedom Radio.
And on the foreign scene, United Nations war crimes investigators have urged the United States to carry out thorough probes into civilian casualties caused by United States air raids in Syria to ensure that those responsible for any violations are held to account. The UN Commission of Inquiry today reiterated a recommendation to the United States and all parties to conduct credible, independent, and impartial investigations into incidents entailing civilian casualties in which their forces are implicated. The panel called on Washington to ensure those responsible for violations are held accountable and to make their findings public. The raid killed up to 64 women and children, a possible war crime during the battle against the ISIS armed group. The independent experts also called for easing Western sanctions on Syria to mitigate their impact on civilians who are grappling with shortages and skyrocketing inflation. We've come to the end of today's Global News. On behalf of the entire production team and I, Zahra Zannah, thank you for listening.